Travis Kramer.
Here.
Scott McCormick.
Here.
Jeremy Hansen.
Here.
Jason Lacy.
Here.
Paul Kraus.
Here. The Open Meetings Act is posted on the wall. The consent agenda, does anyone have anything that we need to take out and consider separately? If not, we'll accept a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
A motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Scott McCormick.
Aye.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Jason Lacy.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item 5, approval of the minutes from the December 19th, 2022 nuisance hearing and regular board meeting.
Make a motion to accept the minutes from those two meetings as presented.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the December 19th nuisance property hearing and regular board meeting as presented. There's no further discussion. Let's vote on that motion.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Jason Lacy.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCormick.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item 6. Third and final reading of ordinance 674 to raise prices for new meters and fittings.
I move to approve.
Third and final reading.
I move for the third and final reading of passage of ordinance 674, which reads an ordinance of the Village of Arlington, Nebraska to amend ordinance number 658 and to adopt chapter 12, article 4, section 140, items C through D, connection and tapping fees and provision for the reading of the same and repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith and providing for an effective date.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the third and final reading of ordinance 674. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Jason Lacy.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCormick.
Aye.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Ordinance 674 is passed as presented this 19th day of 2023. January 2023. Item B, generator discussion. I would assume that's why Dan's here. No? Okay. Do we have anything new to discuss?
We don't have anything new from last time.
Okay.
Still mulling over, I think, the options, but after, I think all we had was Fremont Electric so far that's willing to even look at the auditorium option, and that one's pretty spendy, so I don't even know.
What we were talking about, Dan, was we had an estimate to have a switch in where we could put a switch and take the generator either to here or the auditorium. And it kind of sounded like that was a really expensive option. I think maybe just have a generator at each place would be better, I would think.
Probably, I don't know what system do you have in here? I mean, you're working with two different. Is this a 3-phase system in here? Just a single phase. I mean, the auditorium is 3-phase. So let the 3-phase down here, then you're working with two different systems. The generator would have to get switched over based on which, assuming there's a single phase system in here, I don't know what's in here. When we looked at it years and years and years ago, it was to just put a permanent mount up at the auditorium when we were considering using the auditorium as a shelter location.
Okay.
But that was, I mean, obviously long before this building even existed.
Mhm. All right, well, we'll keep working on that, see what we can. I think maybe it'd be better off just to get one that would stay here and decide how we're gonna move forward with the auditorium as well too, so. Item 7A, we haven't had anything new on the streets. Anything you've heard of? We need to make an approval for resolution 1162023A.
These are the year-end certifications for the street superintendent, and they had a bunch of these get lost in the mail, so. Should have been done at the December meeting, but
Make a motion to pass resolution 1162023A, whereas state of Nebraska statute sections 392302, 392511 through 392515 details requirements that must be met in order for a municipality to qualify their annual incentive payment. Whereas state of Nebraska Department of Transportation requires that each incorporated municipality must annually certify the appointments of their city street superintendent to the NDOT using the year-end certification of city street superintendent form. Thought we did that, but whereas the NDOT requires that each certification shall also include a copy of the documentation of the city street superintendent's appointment, i.e. meeting minutes showing the appointment of the city street superintendent by their name as it appears on their license, their license number, class of license, and type of appointment, employed contract, and the beginning date of the appointment. Whereas the NDOT also requires that such year-end certification of city street superintendent form shall be signed by the mayor or village board chairperson and shall include a copy of the resolution of the governing body authorizing the signing of the year-end certification of city street superintendent form by the mayor or the village board chairperson. Be it resolved that village board chairperson Paul Kraus is hereby authorized to sign the attached year-end certification of city street superintendent.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of resolution 1162023A. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Travis Kramer,
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Lisa Lacy.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Resolution 1162023A is passed and approved by a majority of the village board on January 19th, 2023. And that takes care of item C. That's just an explanation on why we're doing this again.
I need
Oh.
someone to make a motion with the wording that's in that.
In item C,
Mhm.
okay. Would you like to make the same motion or make another motion for that?
Sure. Approval of chairman signing of year-end certification. I think I read that word for word already in the other document, didn't I? Approval of chairman signing of year-end certification of street superintendent for terminating the highway incentive payment. The documents were mailed to the village in October from NDOT. However, the village never received them. Therefore, we are signing them today. Looking for a second, I guess.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of the chairman signing a year-end certification of the street superintendent. Determining the highway incentive payment, January 1st to 31st, 2022. These documents were mailed to the village in October from the NDOT. However, the village never received them. Therefore, we are signing today. There's no further discussion. Let's vote on that motion.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Jason Lacy.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. All right. Water and sewer, people services report. What do you have for us, James?
Unfortunately, nothing really new. Still waiting on Jetco to come out to give us a second quote for the SCADA equipment. I did talk to Dustin today. He said somebody should be out this month.
Okay.
So I should be able to have both of those to you guys next month so you can make a decision on which one you want to go with.
Any news on the grinder we're waiting for?
The grinder is at Iowa Pump, but they're waiting on the electronics.
Okay,
That should be here this week. They should be able to have everything installed next week.
that'll be a happy day for you, won't it?
You know, it has to be better rush tree, pretty much. And then the other, track is still working on sewer cleaning plan. I should have that at the next meeting. That's for cleaning a quarter of the town for 4 years.
Okay,
It says that during your rounds on 12/23, you noticed the wall heater in the east well house was no longer working. The fan will come on, but not the heat. You went to cards, bought a new space heater. Is that all taken care of then, or?
No.
We're still utilizing it.
Have the space heater in there.
Okay.
I did talk to. Geez, I don't know why I can't remember his name, the guy here in town, Greg, and he's got it on a schedule, he's been too busy, so
Okay,
he will come out to fix that. The space heater is,
is sufficient for the time being.
that's
anything else for James? Travis and I haven't met as far as water sewer this month. We have nothing on the committee report. All right, we'll move on to item C. Thanks for your time, James.
thank you.
You, James, take care.
Have a good night.
You too.
Washington County Sheriff's report. Was he going to Zoom?
I heard from him.
Okay. You guys have anything as a committee?
We just met with them, and in our discussions, it was brought up again to come up with some kind of a form to potentially have security at events, especially events that are selling alcohol. We did discuss like wedding receptions and graduations and things like that. I don't know, it's kind of, that would be our discretion on how we want to handle those situations, but it came out of the fact of from when we rented it for the boxing. And they were requested to show up when there was some altercations or whatever, or some threats or something made.
And then they requested that they stayed the whole night. Well, they're supposed to be patrolling the whole county and they
Right.
didn't have the manpower to do so.
So maybe if they're selling alcohol, we should require them to have security.
That's kind of what he was recommending.
That's what he's recommending.
It's notes said alcohol or violence. I
Right.
don't know that they have.
Yeah, I think we were in agreement on definitely the boxing, I think,
Right.
if we rent it out for those things again.
Did they sell alcohol at that event? You know?
No, just the environment promotes
Yeah,
people to get after each other,
yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Cause I did ask him about that distinction. I go, well, what about graduation parties? What about, wedding, those types of things. And his recommendation would be for sure, at least where there's gonna be alcohol sold. Was the bare minimum he felt like, right? Isn't that pretty much what he?
Yeah.
They just have it there because there are plenty of events where they just BYOB.
That's a determination we have to make as a committee, or as a board. How we want to handle it, what it needs to look like. He said that the going rate's $45 an hour. Security would not have to be a Washington County sheriff. They're not doing it in a situation to try to get rich off of us. It's a position to create more safety. He said that for wedding events, maybe not during the reception, but during the dance, because that's when the problems come about. So we also talked about security cameras and a grant for those security cameras, and nothing has come of that either, he said, for the trail. So, but said the going rate was $45 for security from their perspective of what they typically, their off-duty officers. And he said he would get us sample plans, but I haven't seen anything in here.
We could also contact Alarm and look for sample ordinances,
Sure.
ask our attorney.
Okay.
Is that something you could give us your thoughts on, maybe in an email before our next meeting?
Whenever we run out our facilities to require security officers.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that. That's, I would be a little worried about how feasible that might be if you just have a smaller party, or if you have, I don't know what your facilities are, how they rent it out, but for the purposes of just independently contracting for security. Officers, I know a lot of officers know all that do private security as well. They may have some forms that I can look at from their perspective that they use when they go and do this stuff. So usually it's just a matter of you want, in situations like that, you want an officer there because they have a uniform on and they can wear the uniform while they're doing that off duty. So, or you could just hire regular bouncers.
Then I suppose there's a liability if they're not trained, you know, how do we decide who we accept as security?
So
If we just let the sheriff decide that, then it's easy for us.
that's where usually if it's a licensed and insured security company, they're gonna have big policy limits to cover their liability to begin with.
Okay.
Because you're always gonna have some adverse risk of something going wrong in the facility during that. You can't control third party independent actions, but
Yeah,
like I said, usually even though options go to weddings and some not, but there'll be an officer there, but usually it's because he's hired off duty. I don't know about requiring someone to have officer off duty or not, but
Well, you said it could be like Signal 88 or something like that too, because that'd be a big company that probably has, you know, the appropriate bondage or whatever that they have, the bonds that they need. Liability coverage, et cetera.
Are we thinking a auditorium rental policy or a village ordinance?
Just a policy for renting the auditorium.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be an ordinance. It's just, it would be added to your policy, so I
I was
guess
just questioning.
we should probably turn that over to you guys rather than.
Well, no. I was asking if.
Probably be parks.
No, you're doing great. You're doing great. The reason I was asking is that would it affect the drive-in and facilities down there?
They require security down there at the fairgrounds. If it's anything of any size, they do, they're used to it, but.
Fremont said that they do also if there's alcohol. And for the boxing.
I've been to lots of wedding receptions down there. I've never seen security at the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
So that's my concern is if we start doing it, then are we gonna limit ourselves in our ability to
Yeah, whatever, just.
rent? I don't know.
That's
So,
an
yeah,
issue.
I guess I would take Travis's comment a little further, and if you're renting out green space, what does that mean? Summer Civil is one event, but there's more event coming. Either to that green space or to, obviously, the fairground isn't your jurisdiction, but there's open green space that people could rent the village property, so. Are you saying just specifically the auditorium use, or are you saying the auditorium community room, are you saying auditorium community room, this room?
I mean, to me, it seems more like it's an independent test factor, whether it's gonna be guns and oats, where the boxing matches. Clearly, it's not one of those stuff, dangerous goes up. If you have a stamp trading convention there, I mean, you're not gonna hire uniformed officers to watch over something like that. Even though they may have alcohol there because they're excitable and fun stamp traders, I don't know. Anyways, it seems like it's a sniff test. You think you need it, don't you?
well, that's the concern I have is, so why did you pick our event and not this other event? So that's why if it's whenever they're selling alcohol, that's probably pretty easy. Sniff test, using your words.
And again, the alcohol, is it the alcohol or is it gonna be the nature of the event?
Yeah.
I mean, boxing is in and of itself probably a little more incisive or instigating when it comes to those types of actions.
let's see if we can round up definitions between Mike and maybe Lauren, and if you've got any input. Maybe we can have some more discussion next meeting with some clear definitions of what we want to look at. Here's where Dan, fire department requests to discuss parking in front of and next to fire station doors. I thought we'd cleared up our ordinance, so there was a fine and everything.
The ordinance is clear as it can possibly be. But nobody. I don't want to say nobody. I visited with the sheriff knows of the ordinance. And everyone here knows of the ordinance. Nikki and I have talked about this until we're blue in the face. We know of the ordinance. But somehow that's as far as it goes. The people that rent the facility either know and don't care, or I don't know, but I thought we were past this, but I'm still getting the reports from my members that either the 4 or 5 spaces that are specifically red curved to the south of the station door or actual apparatus bay doors are being blocked by people using the community room or the auditorium.
Do we have enough signage up?
That's, I guess, where I'm at. I mean,
If we need to buy more
signage
signage,
do we need? And, you know, people have said, well, you need it in a different language. Well, I am not putting any other nationality signs on the side of the building until they start putting stop signs in every corner in 2 or 3 languages. I'm not putting no parking signs in various languages. I mean, if the attorney or if someone says they need to be a picture of a tow truck with a hook versus the wording that says no parking tollway zone, I mean, we can go to that, but I mean, there's almost more sign than there is metal on the side of the building at this point. And
So my question will be, have you guys called and reported those vehicles or,
we call them in, and
then there's no enforcement?
when they have time to, yes. I mean, I'm not here to badmouth anybody. I'm not here to complain. I'm just more or less wanted it back in the minutes that it's still an ongoing issue. That's all of my members.
can we contract with a towing company to enforce that and it doesn't need to go through the sheriff?
That I don't know.
Looks like there's 8 signs for those 4 spots.
The sheriff's probably gonna take it before they.
Walk by there yesterday and checked.
If there's a sign that says you can't park here without being towed, an apartment complex
can you,
can tow you.
There's almost no more room for signs.
They also get told when they rent the auditorium, they get reminded not to park there.
All my guys have been instructed to call the non-emergency number of dispatch.
I say, because I know we brought it up with Mike at one of our quarterly meetings. He said, tell people to call me. I don't know what's going on unless they call me. We can't enforce things unless they call. So that's why I asked, because I know that's gonna be the first thing he asked me. Will have any of them called when they've seen it? And I'll be like, well, I don't know.
They do call it in. Here again, I mean, unless they're in the area, then it's
Sure.
a big delay, or we've got, you know, and here again, I'm not bashing anybody.
Oh, you're
We've got other things going on in the county that's higher priority than sort of parked in front of the parking site. I guess I'm trying to get. What does the fire department need to do? What can the village do? What can we do to get past this? So we don't have to even be calling law enforcement every week saying there's somebody parked in front of one of the no parking signs again. I mean.
I think we should ask Mike if he's got a towing company that he uses and we directly contact those guys.
Is it the same vehicles again and again and again? Or is it different?
It's the events. That's what people rent for events.
It's usually the weekend events. People pretend like they don't see the signs.
I mean, parking is limited. I understand that, but.
On that picture, they're not all painted. Are they currently all painted red, John? Do you know?
The
Curb.
Yeah.
our curbs are, the curb box are painted red, yes.
Because in the picture that's on Google, they are not.
Yeah. This looks
We
like
just painted them last year.
Good. I say if you get a towing company that just automatically comes and tows it, you make one more sign that says you can contact this
If your
number.
car's gone, contact this number, you've been towed.
Yeah. Well, no, that's,
That's the way
I know a lot of private.
I think we should just take the judgment call out of it.
Yeah.
We fought this for so long that if people can't listen, then they should get towed.
Yeah.
We've got signs up clearly stating. Let's get a hold of Mike.
There's a professional tow truck that on 7th Street. I mean, 3 blocks down, he could have
There you go.
up and away he goes.
I don't care who we do,
Yeah.
but let's see who Mike would call and see if they want to contract with us.
Yep, I'll reach
Run
out
over
to
here
Mike.
immediately.
I'll reach out to Mike and ask him.
Okay. Cause I think it would be nice to have one number up there.
That's wonderful. I mean, that's why I came, because
Yep, no.
I don't know, who would you wait, what other avenue to take?
I would make sure, you instruct any of your volunteer firefighters that if they see someone work there, call the non-emergency number. Because that's what Mike's gonna tell us to, so.
Until our next meeting, have them call it in every time they see it. Call the non-emergency number. Hopefully by next meeting, we'll have something. Something different.
But if nothing else, it's in the minutes that it's still an ongoing.
Yeah.
Dan, is that the only spot?
That's actually, I mean. That's all we have marked off is those 4 spots on the side. If you actually read the ordinance, it talks about 20 feet either side of the stations. I mean, we could push the issue on the north side there, but it's never been signed. It's never even been discussed. So
Okay.
my biggest concern is the apparatus doors. I mean,
Mhm.
I can work with, if I absolutely have to, I can work with somebody parking in those 4 spots. That's, I mean. Gonna delay us, yes, because then, obviously our responders are parking further away to get to their trucks, but if I've got a car parked in front of where one of the trucks has got to come out. Then that's a bigger problem
That's a
for
big
me,
number.
because am I just revving up the engine and throwing the car out of the way, or what am I doing? I mean.
Right.
Most of the trucks can push something out of the way if they have to, but
Are you seeing cars park actually in front of the doors?
I've had one in front of the first bay on each end. On the far north end, I've had people block that, and within the last month, I've had them block the first bay door on the south end.
Wow.
I'd say we put this on next month's agenda. See if we can come up with an answer that's clear and definite every time. So.
I think maybe, I mean, if you guys want to provide the warning, or if you want to just have them towed, I mean, when Mike and I have visited about it, he wants to send his deputies in to try to, resolve it and just tell them to move their car out of the way. But if you don't even want to go through that, if you want to just do an immediate tow, then that'll be.
Apparently that's not enough.
You guys would have to work out. But
Apparently it hasn't been enough to warn people. It's not making a difference, so. I don't want to have to sit through this again. With you guys being upset that people are parked in front of your doors. There's no reason. If you parked anywhere else where it says no parking or you be towed. I don't know too many places that give you warnings, let's just don't. Maybe the word will get out. So. We'll put this on the next meeting's agenda and we'll see what Mike has to say about that. We'll run it by Stephen. See if we need to put up a sign and make it happen.
You skip over C.
Is there any nuisance properties that we need to?
Skip over C.
Yeah.
We're good.
Discussion of approval of security requirements.
We're gonna work on those definitions
Oh, okay. No, I was thinking.
for who
No, we can-
who is security and what events we want to have. So
Okay, I was thinking something else there.
that's another thing. We'll see if Mike can give us anything and maybe check with Lauren.
There wasn't anything from the office, I think he said, for the nuisance properties, and I didn't have anything. Did you have anything, Scott, for nuisance property? We talked to the sheriff, he said that it's going fine with them delivering the letters and stuff, so
Okay,
continue to.
all right. Sounds good.
Keep an eye on that gentleman we visited with last meeting with all the vehicles and.
Yes,
Keep an eye on that one.
in the trailer.
All right, let's move on to item D, Parks Committee Report. Travis and Jeremy, do you guys have anything new this month?
I think Jeremy, you and I talked putting it together into a parks update summary, kind of recap. Last year's strat plan and then maybe talk a little bit about next year's. Nothing exciting yet.
How'd your renovations go? Good?
We're going, drywall's done, had it all painted.
We normally get the flooring pour out in the entryway. I don't know how ambitious about trying to start putting it down, but the weather coming, but hopefully maybe by the end of the week, we can have the flooring in.
Item B, monthly library report. It looks like they have voted to hire Julie Jones as a librarian Monday through Thursday and 2 Saturdays a month until an assistant librarian is hired to fill those Saturday hours. Voted and seconded and approved by the library board, so.
We need to hire her too.
I think we should make it official to.
But do we have to?
You guys need to approve it.
We do?
Really?
Okay. Go ahead, committee guy.
Let's see, where's the motion?
Let's get there. Okay, we'll get there in a minute. Let's do item C first so we don't get lost. Discussion and possible approval of village paying for operator certification for pool manager and 2 assistant managers at a cost of $40 each.
Yeah.
I have no problems with that.
A motion to approve the certification, the operator certification for pool manager and 2 assistants at $40 each.
So
We have a motion and a second to approve the village paying for operator certification for pool manager and 2 assistant managers at a cost of $40 each. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Jason Lacy.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item D, discussion and possible approval of library board decision to hire Julie Jones as the librarian.
I'll motion to approve Julie Jones as the new librarian.
We have a motion and a second to approve the hire of Julie Jones as the new librarian. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Jason Lacy.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Cemetery, I imagine that's been quiet.
It's been quiet.
Really much going on this time of year with those guys.
Lighting projects probably just on hold till better weather, but
Okay.
yesterday and. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to F, administrative. Washington County Building Permit Report. Did anybody have any questions or concerns?
I think you only saw one, right? For us.
Yeah. Yeah. Item B, clerk report.
Is not one.
Item C, Midwinter Conference. I've been to a few of these. I would recommend it for new board members. If you guys have time, you can go. It's a lot of networking, a lot of new ideas, a lot of it's a lot of a little more in-depth on some of these programs that are available to us. So if anybody wants to go, let the office know.
Best to go both days, or can you just go one day?
Well, you can pick a day. If you only want to do one, go through the program and see what interests you. Wednesday or Tuesday is kind of a half day, I believe. I believe it's done at noon. So
All right.
if you were going to do a day, I think you could probably get a little more in out of Monday. And that's when the section meetings are. At the end of the day, you'll meet with other people from cities and villages your size. And it's interesting just to listen to what other people are going through in other towns and kind of helps put problems into perspective. And ask people what they're doing and find out what other people are doing for different issues. So. Item D, discussion and possible approval of ad in 2023 people, places and progress of Washington County. Got prices on page 62 of our packet.
What kind of ad would that be? Something we'd make or just do a small?
Would they make an ad for us or would we?
They got one like here.
Do you know?
They got one on here.
Be in your-
Let him go further.
I didn't either.
Hers looks nicer. It's in color.
Yeah.
So which size is that one? That's the 8 quarter. They'll make it fit whichever one of those probably. That's.
It's a bigger, I think it's a bigger magazine format. It's not a size of an 8 by 11.
No, I was just trying for the pricing. That's.
Yeah. What do you think? Quarter page?
If we're gonna do it, I'd say quarter would be the appropriate size for what you're gonna get for a price. Still visible, but I see the quarter as much as I see the half personally.
Yeah.
Is that a motion?
So I'll make a motion to approve an ad for the 2023 people, places and progress of Washington County in the paper at a quarter page at the price of $3.84.
Second to that.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of a quarter page ad in the 2023 people, places and progress of Washington County for $384. There's no further discussion. Let's vote on that motion.
Aye.
Hanson,
Aye.
Jason Lucy.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
All right. Item E, discussion and possible approval of replacing 10-year-old deputy clerk computer at a cost of $889.
That computer will not back up the software. The Simple City software, it locks up every time. It doesn't run the meter reading software very well. And they 12 said that they have a computer on hand that they could replace it with. If you choose to do that.
You know if that's a new computer with any warranty or if it's a refurbished one or.
My guess is it's refurbished.
Spare.
Not 100%.
It could be a computer. That's new. It's just the hard drive. It's
Yeah.
not, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like everything. Do you want clarification on that before we vote or? Or do we even need it right for the time being, is that what you're saying?
I don't know.
Because we're gonna have. Office.
Is it gonna matter to us if it's a warranty or not? I would imagine they would give us
I'm sure they'll
at least a
take care of it.
90-day warranty or something.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll take care of it. That's who we've decided is our people, so.
Yeah, this is who we deal with.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with just making a motion to approve it.
What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say that meter reading software is only on.
On that,
computer,
yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I'll make the motion to approve replacing the 10-year-old deputy clerk computer at a cost of $800.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of replacing the deputy clerk computer at a cost of $889. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Hanson,
Aye.
Jason Weasel.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item F. We'll need a motion with regret to accept Nikki's resignation. Wish you all the best in the future and thank you for what you've done. While you've been here, you pulled us out of some pretty tough times. And we appreciate that.
Make motion to accept the clerk treasurer resignation from Nikki Harry with regret.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the acceptance of clerk treasurer's resignation. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Jason Weasel.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Jeremy Hanson.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item G, I wonder if that's something we would like to go into executive session for.
Yep.
If so, we could vote on.
I'll make a motion going to executive session to discuss personnel and the interim plan for the clerk position.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to enter executive session for item G. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Jeremy Hanson.
Aye.
Jason Weasel.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye.
Oh.
Um,
What do we need to talk then?
well, we can just,
Oh, the-
Mike,